The galaxy was already burning. Entire worlds were falling one by one. No one believed help would come. In the command chamber of the Alien Alliance capital planet, Commander Varric stood in silence, watching the battle reports appear in the air. Before him, red lights covered half the star map. Each red mark meant a lost fleet or a destroyed colony. Their enemy, the Drath Empire, had come without warning. Their ships were larger, their weapons stronger, their soldiers without mercy. They did not ask for surrender. They did not offer peace. They only advanced. Outside the tall, crystal windows, the sky above the capital world was filled with distant flashes of light. That was not a storm. It was the last defense fleet fighting and dying. Varric felt the weight of every life lost. Around him, the council members argued in fear. Some demanded retreat, others demanded surrender. A few wanted to hide in deep space and wait for the enemy to pass. But deep inside, they all knew the truth. The Drath Empire would not stop until every allied world was silent. A young officer rushed into the chamber. Her armor was damaged, her face pale. "The outer defense line has fallen," she said. "Their dreadnoughts broke through our shields." Silence filled the room. One council elder finally spoke in a low voice. "There's one more option." Everyone turned toward him. "Earth." The word felt strange in the air. Some council members reacted with disbelief. Humans were new to the galactic stage. They were strong, yes, but quiet. They rarely joined conflicts. They traded, they explored, they observed. "Why would they risk their fleet for us?" one council member asked. The elder replied, "Because long ago, when pirates attacked their colonies, we sent aid. We did not hesitate." "That was a small raid," another voice argued. "This is extinction." Commander Varric stepped forward. "If we do nothing, extinction is certain. If we ask and they refuse, nothing changes, but if they answer." He did not finish the sentence. Everyone understood. Another explosion shook the distant sky. Varric gave the order, "Prepare a long-range signal." Deep below the Capitol Tower, engineers powered up an ancient communication array built for emergencies. Only its energy demand was massive, its range beyond normal limits. The message was simple. The Alliance is falling. The Drath Empire advances. We request assistance. Varric recorded the final line himself. "To Earth we ask, not for salvation, but for solidarity." The signal launched into deep space faster than any ship could travel, passing stars, jumping across relay points, moving toward a distant blue planet. In the command chamber they waited. Minutes felt like hours. Another fleet report arrived. The second defense ring was collapsing. Civilian evacuation ships were being destroyed. Fear spread through the council. Some whispered that humans would ignore them, that Earth would protect only its own. Varric remained still, his eyes fixed on the star map. Far beyond their borders, on the edge of Alliance space, something shifted. Drath long-range sensors detected a strange gravitational ripple, but they dismissed it as debris from a battle. Back on the capital world, a junior technician looked at his console. In confusion, he leaned closer to the screen. "Commander," he said softly. Varric turned. "We have received confirmation." The chamber froze. Confirmation of signal delivery. Varric felt his heart slow. That meant Earth had received the call. But there was no reply. Not yet. Outside, the sky flashed again as another Allied cruiser exploded. Hope was fading. The galaxy had begged for help, and now they could only wait in the darkness. Far away, in a silent human command center, a single red alert light began to glow. The red alert light did not flash. It simply glowed in the quiet human command center. Admiral Reyes stood alone in the observation deck above Earth Defense Command, watching the blue planet slowly turn beneath the stars. An officer approached him with a tablet and shaking hands. "The signal has been verified, sir. It is from the Alien Alliance capital. Their outer fleets have fallen." Reyes did not look surprised. He had expected this day. 4 years Earth had watched the Drath Empire expand like a dark wave across distant sectors. Human probes had gathered data. Human analysts had studied battle patterns. Human shipyards had worked without rest. Earth had prepared. "How long until the Alliance falls?" he asked calmly. The officer swallowed. "Less than 48 standard hours, sir." Reyes nodded slowly. "Send the signal to the Council." Within minutes, leaders from across Earth appeared on the holographic table presidents, generals, scientists, and fleet commanders. No one raised their voice, no one panicked. They had trained for this decision. The message from the Alliance replayed in the chamber. We ask not for salvation, but for solidarity. Silence followed. One council member finally spoke. If we intervene, we declare open war with the Drath Empire. Another added, if we do nothing, the Drath will grow stronger and eventually reach us. Reyes stepped forward. We knew this conflict would come. The question was never if, but when. A long pause filled the room. Then the Earth President gave a simple order. Activate War Protocol Atlas. Deep beneath the oceans and hidden within asteroids, massive human shipyards powered to full output. Dormant warships awakened. On Mars' orbit, thousands of workers watched as armored hulls lit up with energy. Near Jupiter, the first battle group began forming: carriers, destroyers, heavy cruisers, stealth frigates, and the largest human dreadnought ever constructed. Its name was Resolute. Citizens across Earth noticed unusual traffic in orbit, but no public announcement was made. There were no speeches, no celebrations. This was not a parade. This was preparation. In training halls, Marines, suited up in black combat armor, pilots reviewed combat simulations, engineers calibrated plasma cannons and shield arrays. Every movement was calm, precise, controlled. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of Resolute as reports streamed in. Fleet Alpha ready. Fleet Beta forming. Supply carriers in position. Long-range weapons calibrated. The human warfleet was not small. It was overwhelming. In the far reaches of Alliance space, the Drath Empire advanced toward the capital world. Their massive battleships moved like shadows against the stars, confident, unstoppable. Their high command received an unusual sensor reading, a gravitational disturbance far beyond expected patterns. Their scientists studied it briefly, then dismissed it as natural fluctuation caused by collapsing Alliance fleets. They did not understand. Back in human space, the final ship locked into formation. Hundreds of vessels stretched across the void in perfect alignment, engines glowing softly. Reyes opened a secure channel. All fleets report. Ready, came the reply from every sector. He looked at the stars ahead. The path toward Alliance space was long, but human jump drives were faster than most civilizations realized. This advantage had remained secret. Until now, on Earth, families looked up at the night sky, unaware that their protectors were about to leave. There were no goodbyes, only quiet determination. The president sent one final encrypted message to the fleet. Bring them home. Reyes gave the command. Prepare for synchronized jump. A deep vibration moved through every human ship as jump engines charged. Energy built slowly, then faster. Far away on the Alliance capital world, Commander Varric watched enemy ships closing in around his planet's shields, were weakening, evacuation routes failing. Hope was almost gone. Then his sensor officer looked up in confusion. Commander, we are detecting something. Multiple gravitational signatures. Hundreds of them. Space itself began to bend. The stars ahead of the Drath fleet started to distort. On the bridge of Resolute, Admiral Reyes spoke one final word. Jump! And the galaxy felt it. Space did not explode. It folded. Hundreds of human warships tore through the fabric of reality at the same moment. The stars above the Alliance capital flickered and vanished behind massive shadows. Drath commanders froze as their sensors overloaded. Impossible readings flooded their systems. New contacts. Unknown fleet size. Energy output beyond projection. Commander Varric stared at the tactical display as red enemy markers were suddenly surrounded by blue. Not dozens, not even 100, but hundreds of human warships. They formed perfect battle lines in complete silence. No chaotic movement. No panic. Only control. At the center of the formation, the massive dreadnought Resolute emerged like a mountain in space, its armor dark and smooth, its weapons powered but not yet firing. On the bridge, Admiral Reyes watched the battlefield with steady eyes. Status. All fleets in position, sir. Enemy formation locked. Weapon systems ready. He studied the Drath fleet. They were powerful, but scattered from their long assault. Their confidence had made them careless. Send a message. A tight beam transmission cut across open space directly into the Drath command channel. This is Earth Warfleet. Cease your attack immediately. The Drath High Commander stared at the holographic projection of the human fleet, disbelief turning into anger. Unknown species, you interfere in Imperial conquest, withdraw or be destroyed. On the Alliance capital, world silence filled the command chamber. Varric whispered, "They are speaking." Before anyone could breathe, the Drath commander gave the order. Open fire. Hundreds of Drath cannons erupted with crimson light beams racing toward the human line. Alliance officers gasped, but the human fleet did not move. Their shields flared once bright, white, absorbing the impact. Damage reports came in across human bridges. Minimal shield loss. No structural compromise. Reyes nodded. Return fire. The darkness between stars lit up. Human rail cannons launched kinetic rounds at near light speed. Plasma lances cut through space like blue suns. Missile swarms deployed in coordinated waves guided by precise artificial intelligence. Drath shields shattered under the first volley. One battleship split in half before its crew understood what happened. Shock rippled through the enemy formation. Their technology had always dominated the Alliance, but this was different. This was overwhelming. Human ships advanced slowly, maintaining perfect spacing, never breaking formation. Each movement calculated, each strike intentional. A Drath dreadnought attempted a flanking maneuver, but stealth frigates appeared from nowhere, targeting its engines with surgical precision. The massive vessel drifted powerless. On the Alliance capital, world civilians gathered near observation towers, watching the distant battle with fear and fragile hope. For the first time, the red flashes in the sky were not only destruction, they were defense. Back on the Drath flagship, alarm screamed. Enemy targeting our command vessel. Shield integrity dropping. Multiple hull breaches. The High Commander felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. How can their fleet be this large, he demanded. No answer came. Human boarding pods launched, silently attaching to crippled enemy ships. Marines moved with disciplined focus, clearing corridors, securing reactors, disabling weapons. This was not chaos. This was control. Admiral Reyes watched as the main Drath formation began to fracture. Enemy morale is collapsing, reported his tactical officer. Continue pressure, do not allow regrouping. One by one, Drath vessels exploded or surrendered. The space around the Alliance capital was transforming. What had been a slaughter became a wall of human steel. Commander Varric felt tears in his eyes, but did not look away. Earth had not come with hesitation. Earth had come with force. Yet the battle was not finished. Deep behind the main Drath fleet, a massive signature appeared on sensors. Larger than any ship yet seen. A super dreadnought. The true flagship of the Drath Empire. Its weapons began charging, glowing like a small star preparing to unleash devastation. On the bridge of Resolute, Admiral Reyes stared at the growing energy spike. Prepare all fleets. The real fight has begun. The Drath super dreadnought moved forward like a living mountain. Its hull was covered in layered armor plates, thicker than most ships were wide. Massive cannons rotated slowly toward the human formation. Energy gathered at its core, glowing brighter with every second. Alliance sensors trembled under the power spike. Commander Varric felt fear return. If that weapon fires, the capital will not survive. On the bridge of Resolute, Admiral Reyes remained calm. Analysis. Primary cannon charging beyond known output. Estimated impact capable of planetary shield collapse. Time to fire. 40 seconds. Human ships adjusted formation without panic. Carriers shifted backward. Destroyers moved to flank. Heavy cruisers locked targeting solutions on exposed weapon ports. Reyes gave the order. Focus fire on energy nodes. Rail cannons thundered again. Blue lances streaked toward the super dreadnought, striking its outer shields. The impact barely slowed the charge. Drath commanders regained confidence. They believed their flagship was invincible. Return all fire to the human lead ship. Hundreds of beams slammed into Resolute, its shields flaring violently. Alarms echoed across the bridge. Shield integrity dropping to 70%. Hold formation, Reyes said. More human ships redirected power channels, linking shield frequencies, sharing defensive load across the fleet. A web of light connected them. Damage stabilized. 20 seconds to enemy discharge. Reyes narrowed his eyes. Deploy Hammer Group. From behind the main line, a new set of vessels accelerated forward, smaller, faster, darker. Stealth assault cruisers. Their hulls shimmered as they activated close-range jamming fields. They flew straight toward the super dreadnought. Draft point defense cannons opened fire, filling space with explosive bursts. 2 human cruisers were hit, their hulls cracking, but they did not retreat. They continued forward. 10 seconds. Inside the Alliance command chamber, silence gripped every officer. Outside, the sky burned white. 5 seconds. Human assault cruisers reached optimal range. Release payload. From beneath their hulls, massive kinetic penetrators launched at extreme velocity, aimed not at the armor, but at the glowing weapon core vents. The super dreadnought fired. A beam of blinding crimson energy tore across space. But at the last instant, the human fleet split apart. With perfect timing, the beam passed between formations, cutting through empty space and vanishing into deep vacuum. The capital world survived, and then the penetrators struck. They punched through weakened shield layers and slammed into the exposed weapon channels. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the super dreadnought shook. Energy surged backward into its own systems. Internal explosions rippled along its spine. Draft crew screamed as overload warnings filled their bridge. Shut down. Vent the core. Too late. The massive cannon detonated from within. A shockwave expanded outward, shaking every nearby ship. Human vessels raised shields, bracing against the blast. When the light faded, the draft super dreadnought drifted, broken, its once glowing core dark and silent. Across enemy communications, panic spread. Their ultimate weapon had fallen. Reyes saw the shift instantly. Enemy command cohesion failing. Multiple ships attempting retreat. He spoke clearly. Do not pursue beyond defense perimeter, secure Alliance space. This was not conquest. This was protection. Remaining draft ships began jumping away, abandoning the battlefield. Alliance officers watched in disbelief. For the first time since the war began, the enemy was retreating. Commander Varric leaned heavily against the command console, unable to speak. The human fleet held position between the capital and open space, forming an unbreakable shield. On the bridge of Resolute, damage reports continued, but losses were minimal compared to what had been expected. Reyes finally allowed himself a slow breath. The immediate threat was over. Yet long-range scanners detected scattered draft reinforcements pulling back, regrouping deeper in their territory. The war was not fully ended, but the message was clear. Earth had drawn a line in the stars, and the galaxy would never forget what happened when that line was crossed. The battlefield grew quiet, but it was not peace. Burning wreckage drifted slowly between the human fleet and the Alliance capital. Damaged draft ships limped away into deep space, their engines unstable, their formations broken. Inside the Resolute, Admiral Reyes studied a new report. Long-range scans confirmed what he expected. The Drath Empire was not surrendering. They were gathering. Far beyond visible range, hidden behind a dying star, a second wave was forming, larger than the first. This was not a retreat. It was preparation. On the Alliance capital, Commander Varric listened as human officers shared tactical data, openly, something no other species had done before. Your enemy will regroup, Reyes said through secure transmission. They will attempt one final strike to restore fear. Varric nodded slowly. Their pride will not allow defeat. Then we will remove their pride, Reyes answered calmly. Deep within draft territory, the wounded super dreadnought wreck was already being replaced by something greater. Their high command had activated war protocol extinction. Every reserve fleet was ordered forward. Every weapon platform brought online. every colony stripped of resources. The Drath Empire would crush Earth in a single, overwhelming assault. Back near the Alliance capital, the human fleet did not celebrate. Repair ships moved between vessels, sealing armor breaches, recharging shield arrays, redistributing ammunition. Medical frigates received injured Marines. Pilots who had survived direct hits returned to their cockpits without complaint. There was no fear in their eyes, only focus. Admiral Reyes gathered his captains. Enemy reinforcements will arrive within 12 hours. They will expect us to chase them into their territory. We will not. We will let them come. The human fleet shifted position, moving slightly farther from the capital, creating a wide defensive corridor. Hidden within asteroid debris, stealth drones deployed, quietly forming an invisible perimeter. Minefields armed but invisible. Long-range artillery ships took distant positions far behind the main formation. This was no simple wall. It was a trap. On the Alliance world, civilians began to understand what had happened. They saw human ships standing guard in orbit. Some wept. Some prayed. Some simply watched. Children pointed at the dark shapes in the sky, whispering about Earth. Hours passed. Then sensors screamed. Massive hyperspace ruptures opened across the outer edge of the system. Not hundreds, but thousands. The Drath's second wave arrived like a storm. Their ships filled space in every direction, heavy carriers, assault barges, planetary siege cannons. Their numbers outmatched the human fleet. Alliance officers felt hope falter. Reyes stood steady. Hold formation. The Drath Armada advanced confidently, believing sheer size would break resistance. Their forward ships crossed into the hidden perimeter. Mines detonated, instantly ripping through lead vessels. Confusion spread. Human artillery ships fired from extreme range, striking exposed flanks. Stealth drones transmitted targeting data with perfect precision. The human fleet did not rush forward. They waited. Drath commanders ordered full assault, charging directly into the defensive corridor. That was their mistake. As they pushed deeper, the corridor narrowed, forcing their massive formation into tight clusters. Human destroyers emerged from side vectors, attacking engines and shield generators. Missile swarms flooded through broken gaps. Marines launched boarding strikes against command ships. The battle became chaotic for the Drath, but the humans remained organized. Reyes watched enemy signals collapse one by one. Target their command network, he ordered. A coordinated strike from 3 dreadnoughts pierced the central Drath communication hub ship. When it exploded, enemy coordination shattered. Ships collided. Orders conflicted. Retreat vectors overlapped. What had been an overwhelming assault turned into a disordered swarm. On the Alliance capital, Varric whispered in awe. They planned this. Back on the Resolute, final damage reports showed heavy fighting but controlled losses. The Drath's second wave began to break apart, attempting emergency jumps. Reyes opened a broadcast across all enemy frequencies. This is Earth. Withdraw and this ends. Continue and we advance. Silence answered him. Then one by one Drath ships disengaged, fleeing into hyperspace. The battlefield emptied again. But this time something was different. The Drath Empire had thrown everything forward and failed. Far in their distant throne world, their rulers stared at the reports in disbelief. For the first time in generations, the Empire felt something it had never known. Fear. Fear spread through the Drath Empire like a silent disease. Their rulers had never known defeat. Now 2 fleets had been shattered by a species they once ignored. On their distant throne world, emergency councils gathered in dark chambers. Some demanded total war. Others whispered a word forbidden for centuries. Peace. Back in Alliance space, the battlefield was finally still. Debris drifted slowly, reflecting the light of nearby stars. Human repair vessels continued their work without celebration. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of Resolute, watching long-range sensors. Any further enemy movement, he asked. Minimal activity, scattered regrouping, but no organized fleet signatures. He nodded. Maintained defensive posture for 48 hours. On the Alliance capital, Commander Varric requested a direct channel. When a human admiral appeared on screen, the entire Alliance Council stood. "We owe you our survival," Varric said quietly. Reyes answered simply. "You asked. That was enough." The Alliance offered tribute, resources, territory, anything in gratitude. Earth declined. "We did not come for reward," Reyes said. "We came because extinction spreads." The words echoed across Alliance worlds. For the first time, many understood humanity not as warriors, but as guardians. Meanwhile, deep inside Drath territory, unrest grew. Outer colonies questioned imperial leadership. Military officers debated strategy. Intelligence reports confirmed a truth that could not be hidden. Earth possessed fleets larger than previously estimated, and had not used them all. That knowledge alone shifted the balance of power. On Earth, citizens finally received a public transmission. It showed damaged ships returning slowly to orbit. It showed Marines stepping onto docking platforms. It showed no cheering crowds, only families waiting quietly. The president addressed the planet. "We answered a call. We defended the innocent. We return home. Nothing more." Yet across the galaxy, the message traveled faster than any fleet. Humans had faced the Drath Empire, and the Empire had retreated. Days passed without further attack. Scouts confirmed Drath warships pulling back to fortified borders. Their expansion halted. Their aggression paused. In Alliance space, reconstruction began. Human engineers assisted in rebuilding orbital stations. Medical teams shared technology. There were no demands, only cooperation. One evening, Commander Varric stood on a balcony overlooking the repaired skyline of his world. Above him, the human fleet prepared to depart. Massive ships aligning for hyperspace jump. He felt something new. Security. On the bridge of Resolute, Admiral Reyes received final confirmation. All Allied sectors stabilized. Enemy forces withdrawn beyond neutral boundary. It was time. Open channel to Alliance. "This is Earth Warfleet. If ever darkness rises again, call." The simple word carried more weight than any weapon. Engines charged. Space began to bend once more. From the surface of the capital world, children watched the stars distort. A young alien child pointed at the fading human ships and asked his mother, "Will they return?" She answered softly, "If we need them." The fleet vanished in a light. Far away in Drath space, their rulers studied new star maps carefully. They redrew borders. They reconsidered ambitions. For the first time, conquest was no longer certain. Earth had not conquered. Earth had not claimed territory. Earth had only answered, and that answer reshaped the galaxy. In deep space, human ships traveled home in silence. There were no victory songs, no banners, only steady engines and quiet pride, because humanity did not seek war. But when the galaxy begged for help, Earth arrived, and the stars themselves remembered the day overwhelming force stood between extinction and hope.